This episode of Southeast Iowa Today is brought to you by Griner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa, using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa. No matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix it, clean it, and customize it. McDonald Boatyard of Keota, Iowa, for all your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. For great food, it's your choice family restaurant of Wayland, Iowa. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Try the John Bain sandwich on your next visit. Girling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer. Fred also fixes and sells snow blowers. B&B Propane and the family of jet stops. CW Tree Trimming, LLC. We're into your trees, not your wallet. Serving all of Henry County and the surrounding area, and we offer a senior citizen and veteran discount.
Iowa Technology Systems of Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Your one-stop computer tech shop. If you, someone you know, or are a business that is having trouble needing laptop, PC, or business technology help, call us today. Visit iowatechsys.com.
Save the date! It's the Junkin Sisters Shop Hop Christmas Edition, December 5th and 6th, 2025. Shop vintage finds, handmade treasures, and festive holiday decor and eats at participating shops. Check out the Junkin Sisters Shop Hop Facebook page for more details.
Dutch Market and Coffee Talk of Washington, Iowa. Dutch Market can handle all of your grocery needs. They even have a conference room that you can use for free. Coffee Talk's drive-thru is open and ready to serve you coffee, energy drinks, sandwiches, baked goods, and ice cream. They all present the award-winning Southeast Iowa Today. Here's the author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On, and your host, John Bain.
Thank you, announcer Cody Roy of NewEnglandDukes.com for your golden pipes and wonderful introduction. I'm at the Henry County Courthouse in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, where the Henry County Board of Supervisors held their weekly meeting. It's November 6, 2025. On the agenda today, approval of agenda, approval of minutes, approvals of claims, department head meeting, County Engineer Jake Hotchkiss weekly update, Henry County snow removal bids, supervisor subcommittees. A neat thing that came up today is that Mark Lindeen mentioned that 64 years ago, he was a 6th grader and attended his first Board of Supervisors meeting. That in itself is really cool, but what makes it cooler for me is my niece Addie, who is an 8th grader, is with me today, and this is her first Board of Supervisors meeting. Maybe a few years down the road, she might be a member of her county board. I'd ask her for you to get the answer, but she is camera shy, so stick around to the end for public comment, because there's podcast gold that is definitely mined today.
Should all rise, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call this meeting of the Henry County Board of Supervisors on the November 6th, 2025, the session. First thing is to approve the agenda. Motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. We have the minutes of October 30th, 2025 presented to us. Motion to approve.
Yes.
We have a motion, I'll second. Any other discussion about it? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, approved. We have the department head meeting. Roger, you're first, please.
Okay, thank you very much. I have an appointment coming in at 10. That's why I gotta get going. This last month in October, we had 257 phone calls and 103 office visits. It was kind of a busy month. And in September, on 9/24, Stan and I attended the Senior Citizens Health Fair at the Baptist Church we had quite a few people out there. It was a good turnout. We had 25 people sign in and handed out a lot of information concerning veterans benefits if they weren't in it already, and it turned out really well. I gave you a copy of the geographic distribution of VA expenditures, and for the state of Iowa, it's $1,273,372 is what they spent in the state of Iowa for the year 23. So I always pull those up because it's always interesting to see what the expenditures are coming from the VA and from the federal government to the state. And we're right up there with the group right now, so we're in good shape there.
That's 19th in ranking nationwide.
Yeah, so that's pretty good for what we do as a state. So October 13th was the Commissioner's Fall School in Des Moines, and they had a one-day meeting, and it turned out really, really well. And they returned. They were impressed with the meeting. They thought it was very good. And my school was on October 21st through the 23rd. And once again, they had several speakers come from the federal government, and they were making presentations and stuff. And they had a bunch of good speakers. It was a good meeting. And I have the agenda still, if you guys would like to see it sometime, as to what went on at the school. There is, in Van Buren County, they sent me a pamphlet with Veterans Day coming up on November the 11th. There's a lot of things going on in the city and also in the counties, dinners and things like that. And I have 2 speaking engagements on the 11th, one at Park Place nursing home, which they have several veterans down there, and I will be making a presentation there. And then at 10:30, I got to be at the VFW Hall to speak there. So that's what's going on in the VA. Okay.
Thank you. Sheriff McNamee.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The month of October was busy for the Sheriff's Office. Here's just a few highlights. We've been holding in the 60s again for the last couple of months. Our total revenue generated for housing out-of-county inmates as of the end of October was $4,137,784. Business continues to be slower countywide for emergency services. At the end of October, we had 17,633 calls for service countywide. October ending in 2024, was 19,213, so we're down about 1,500 calls. And 2023 was 19,713. Staffing, our staffing is doing pretty well. We did lose a couple jailers this last month, so we have 3 jail openings. We interviewed day before yesterday, and we're interviewing again this afternoon, trying to get those filled. Trick-or-treating went well around the county with little to no problems. We were out throughout the county during those trick-or-treatings, and thanks to the Henry County Reserve deputies for supplying us with Snickers to go with our stickers, where we pass those out all over the county. Another quick reminder, the Sheriff's app is in full swing. You can join our app for free. It's nothing as far as costs. It's available for Apple or Android, and it's free, if I didn't mention that. And it will connect you with the National Weather Service, Sex Offender Registry, people who are in jail, latest comings and goings with the Sheriff's Office, emergency alerts of any sort, etc. October 25th, we participated in the National Drug Take Back Day. Happy to report that I delivered over 200 pounds of prescription meds to the DEA for disposal after that event and throughout the year. Deer are really moving this last week or so. We've had a lot of deer crashes. Between the harvest and the whitetail breeding season, they're just really all over the place. So I encourage everybody to slow down and watch for the deer, and it might save you a speeding ticket in the same time. Hey, it's November. The probability of snow is getting higher and higher each day. We all know that. Be prepared. Put supplies in your vehicle. Check your tires. Wear the appropriate clothing for winter weather, and slow down when it comes to driving, and drive accordingly. Lastly, 2 holidays coming this month. Veterans Day is just next week. I want to publicly thank my veterans, Jim Honorado, Aaron Appalera, Brent Roth, Scott Bell, Brendan Swally, and Jamie Keats for their service to our country and to our county. And Thanksgiving's at the end of the month. I hope everybody can celebrate and be thankful with the ones that matter the most to them. And thanks to all of you for what you do and help me with each and every day. Thank you.
All right, good morning. On behalf of the Conservation Department, we've been very, very busy. As probably most of you are aware, if not, the campgrounds have closed. Dalton, Maddie, and I have been in the process of winterizing all the facilities, which I'm sure you would imagine is quite extensive. So just, turning off the water, draining pipes. We pull all of our electric pedestals at South Shore and Waterworks campgrounds. So we have, as of yesterday, we have all that completed. So now what are we going to be doing? We're planning for next year already. Obviously, probably the biggest project that's almost complete is the dump station. It was functioning towards the tail end of the season here. So had a lot of great feedback on that. It was great to have that service back to our community and campers. So two big things. You can see my report. I also included the naturalist report. But some of the major things I'm going to highlight. I've been kind of MIA for the last month or so. Last month I was not able to attend. Reason being, I was in the process of completing two very extensive grants. With budget cuts, I'm looking for other sources for money to do improvement projects on our parks here in Henry County. One is Trees Forever. That grant is through Alliant Energy. I completed that grant. We are looking to at least get a $5,000 grant to plant trees in our campgrounds. Unfortunately, with emerald ash borer and just natural causes, death of trees, we've had to cut quite a few, reducing the shade in our campgrounds. So we should have a pretty good a chance of acquiring that grant. There was only like 3 applicants from Southeast Iowa, so hopefully we should get word yet before the end of the month whether or not we receive that. The next one is the Iowa Forest Resiliency Partnership Program through the Iowa DNR. It's really focused towards conservation departments. This one was very, very extensive. So the 3 properties that we were looking at is right around Oakland Mills, Gibson Park, as well as Heron Marsh, which is our youth hunting area. So the gist of this grant is removal of invasive species. So honeysuckle is the main culprit. Invasives growing in our native grass plantings, which we have a lot of those, and then just general timber stand improvement. So I submitted a grant for $105,000. The plus side of this grant, if we are approved for that $105,000, my department and staff do not have to do any of the work. We get to hire local contractors to conduct all of this work. So it includes removing honeysuckle, planting native grasses to improve wildlife habitat, which will in turn, increase the habitat for wildlife and hunting opportunities with those 3 parks that I mentioned, as well as planting trees and shrubs to benefit, wildlife habitat and aesthetics of our parks. So that one, I am very hopeful that we get that one, because it could really improve a lot of our county parks, and it doesn't cost my staff and I much time or labor. We also, in regards to the playground, we are getting closer and closer each day to our overall budget for that. We're probably 2/3 of the way there. I would have never imagined in a million years, within a matter of 4 months, we would have raised over $60,000. But between personal donations, memorials, we just accepted a $10,000 grant from Henry County Health Center Foundation to go towards our playground. So we're very excited about this project. I'd like to thank Gloria. She is my office manager. She has been spearheading the project. I had the idea, she run with it, but this playground is going to set us apart from a lot of the other playgrounds in the area. It's 100% ADA accessible. The only one in the area that I'm aware of is down at Danquit Park in Burlington. And to make it even better, it's kind of nature themed. So the company we're working with, they're giving us $95,000 as kind of a match grant. So that just kind of pushed us even a little further to our end goal. So one thing I mentioned on the radio before coming in here, you know, it's the end of the year, our favorite time of the year, budget season, as well as tax prep. So if you're looking for any good ways to, you know, write off, this is a great opportunity. It's going to be, you know, a huge impact, not only on our park system, but here in Henry County. Annual night hike, we've been doing that for many, many years. We had over 200 people. I estimated 220 people that showed up to that event, a matter of 2 hours. So this year we did a lighted trail. It was mass chaos. We did not expect that many people in that short of a time. They all showed up at once. And needless to say, we did not have enough help. So with that, I'm gonna put in a plug for volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers to man our nature center, as well as help with programs like the night hike. So if you know anybody that's looking for some volunteer experience, I would like to thank Interstate Bank here in Mount Pleasant. They sent out a handful of their employees to help with different projects this fall. So great group of people, and they even gave us $500 to purchase materials for them to do, you know, different cleaning projects, gloves, you name it. And lastly, we've been partnering with the Friends of Conservation. So this will be the third year, this next year will be the third year that they've hosted a fundraiser banquet. All proceeds go to conservation education and conservation projects within the county. This past year's banquet, all proceeds went to build the shelter house at Stevenson's Park in Lowell. If you've not been down there, I encourage you to go down there. It is a beautiful facility. We've had a lot of great compliments, so kudos to the Friends Banquet Committee, as well as New London Trap Team, New London 4-H'ers. They got a lot of community help to install that in a matter of 2 days. So a lot of positive things going on. We are changing our website platform. This has been something my department and staff have been working on for probably 4 to 6 months. We are doing away with My County Parks. That is where anybody can go to make online reservations for cabins, campsites. They've recently went through an upgrade, and it's not very user-friendly from what we've been getting surveyed from the public. So we are dropping them and adding Civic Plus to the equation. It is going to cost a little bit more, so that's something I'm going to have to budget for, but the reporting is going to be way better for us, you know, submitting reports. You know, if we have to close a campground due to a flooding concern, I can notify everybody that has reservations for the campgrounds in one huge mass email, which we cannot do right now. We have to individually contact those folks that have made online reservations, which is, you can imagine, very time consuming. So a lot of good things going on, but yeah, as winter rolls through here, going to be winterizing equipment, working on equipment, so making sure it's in tip-top condition. We're going to be probably doing some invasive removal here during the winter months, as long as it's not super cold and we don't get a whole bunch of freezing rain and snow. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Kelly.
I already gave you your monthly reports. I added a fourth one in there. I don't even remember what it is. I do like 11 month-end reports. So, I mean, anything you guys think you might want addressed, just let me know. but I can't remember what the fourth one I added for you was. I think it's a driver's license tally for the whole year. Okay. So this October, the office has resumed back to its normal steady business after the first half of property tax season in September. We have managed to get the delinquent tax notices ready and mailed by the 1st of November to remind those property tax owners who may have forgotten to pay. There were 596 posted notices with a postage cost to the county of $441. There is 2.64% left unpaid, which is $463,888 of the September payment as of 11/4/2025. Hopefully those notices that got mailed out will help lower that amount even more. A lot of times people just, oh, I forgot. So in October, we issued 374 driver's license credentials. 32 of those were out-of-county customers who paid the extra $10 just to come to Henry County, and 51 of those customers were walk-ins. We did 29 drive test exams and administered 49 knowledge exams. Motor vehicle revenue was $620,000 for the month of October, with the county retaining $30,800 of that total. This retention also includes what we retained from the driver's license, the $7 per credential. So, staying busy.
Katie?
Thank you. The Board of Health met yesterday, and we're planning to meet again on January 7th in the Public Health Conference Room. I'd like to request that we have a representative from the Board of Supervisors there, because we'll be setting our budget for the year, and we would like to have some projection as far as what our bottom dollar is going to be. We are still awaiting our expenditure reports. There was a problem with solutions, and the auditor's been very helpful answering my questions on that. The treasurer's detail list showed our revenue this last month was $67,858, and all of our revenue comes from reimbursement for vaccines. October has been a very full month for us as well. We're coming up onto the start of respiratory virus season, so flu, COVID, and RSV. We held 12 off-site flu clinics and COVID vaccine clinics, in addition to our regularly scheduled 14 immunization clinics. We gave over 700 vaccines to over 400 people just this month. Iowa Health and Human Services requires agencies to perform audits for the schools to determine if children are compliant with the vaccine mandates, the ones that are required for them to go to school. So we finished those this last month. The due date for those is October 31st. And then we're also responsible for auditing daycare centers too. That's due a little bit later in the year. Public health office hours were on Tuesday, 11/4 this month, and we were given an update on the public health realignment. There's been a lot of back and forth on this. We were told in October that it was paused due to Iowa Health and Human Services applying for the Rural Health Transformation Grant. This was something that came out of the One Big Beautiful Bill that was passed that is supposed to allocate $50 billion for rural health. We were told that the realignment is unpaused. Dr. Cruz is our IHHS medical director and says that the initiative will move to the January 2026 legislative session, and they are planning to implement changes in July of 2026, which is quite a bit sooner than what we had anticipated. I want to reiterate that we will not become state employees. It's been stressed that we'll still have local public health in every county. I also gave you some information on that Rural Health Transformation Grant. I haven't had time to dig deep into it. I just got it this morning. But this is what Iowa Health and Human Services has planned, and I think we should watch this very closely because the money is not necessarily going to health centers to keep health centers open. Iowa Health and Human Services has some different initiatives that they want to work on. They're a very brief overview. There's no detail in those. I handed out some postcards that were printed through the Opioid Prevention Alliance. These have been distributed to some of our local pharmacies, including Capstone and Hy-Vee. Walmart has their own system for putting information in their opioid prescriptions about where to dispose of them properly. So the Prevention Alliance, as far as I know, is planning to meet later this month, and we've been working with the Sheriff's Office and Emergency Management on that. Also, thank you to our veterans. There are several initiatives that are coming down this next week. One is Project Greenlight, so it's where you put in like a green light bulb in your outdoor light to show support for your veterans. And then we also received a call from the Veterans Hall to see if we could work with them to get an AED purchased. There was a cardiac event out there, and we thought that that would be a good place for it. So I'm working on a pre-approval for that. On Thursday, October 30th, Absolute Security stopped unannounced at our office, stating that the public health director would now be delegated to monitor security alarms for the building, which includes not only public health, but also Hillcrest. That's the mental health facility that's housed next door. There was no communication with me prior to this change. And after discussing with the Board of Health, who also didn't receive any communication regarding this, I will not be taking on that duty. Public Health has taken on General Assistance Program with no compensation or staffing, and I'm also managing the budget and claims for Department 60, which used to be the mental health or behavioral health budget. So it's not in my job description to monitor the building security, so I am not taking this on. I did not want to bring this up in a public meeting, but I had no communication otherwise. Moving on to the General Assistance Fund, we had 13 calls for general assistance, and all were immediately ineligible. This is typically due to people being over the income limit, which is 50% of the federal poverty guideline, or being past due on bills, which makes them ineligible. We do refer these people to different services within the area. Community Action is a big one, and also the Fellowship Cup. April, Riley and I attended the General Assistance meeting that was in Johnston on October 29th. That is free of charge, and they hold that annually. And then due to unexpected hold on SNAP benefits because of the federal government shutdown, I am planning to allocate an additional $500 in funding from general assistance to the Fellowship Cup this month. We normally give them $500 per month for food assistance. This will be well within the budget. We've only granted one rental assistance this year for $500 and one direct cremation for $1,000. And as of the previous fiscal year, we had approximately $9,000 left unused in the budget. It's just that our policy is very restrictive. So we thought if we can help out our local pantries, there's been a lot of other counties whose boards of supervisors have helped too. I think Polk County said they were releasing $1 million, was what was on the news today. Thank you.
Well,
went to right outside Chicago for a search and rescue class. Very good class. And had a commission meeting last night. Passed out my first draft of the budget, and letting the guys look at the budget and give me their feedback before I do my final draft for the budget. So that's what I've been working on.
thank you. Jake?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give my weekly report too. I really don't have a lot of action items. I don't have any action items. So just a maintenance update from this last week and the previous week there. Territory operators have been blading and hauling rock. So we have approached the November 1st deadline. So dust controls, we are now blading all the way through on roads. So people will notice us going through dust controls as we're trying to get the roads prepared for winter. There are dry conditions out there. We just feel we're at the point now where we have to get out there and get them moving to get them ready. Brush removal, we have kind of wrapped up there on the south end on south of 235th on the brush cutting with down to Oakland Mills. We were working on Green Valley, we call it 250th Street. And there we were doing some clearing of the right of way. We were in there cutting some trees down using a mower that we rented. And then now the mower is moving to north of 34 to work on Franklin Avenue, and we're gonna try to wrap up those operations by Friday to get that turned back in since we've got some holidays coming up here. And then we will look at that potentially again as the winter allows. If we don't have a lot of snow in the ditches, then we may rent that for another month and do some more clearing out there. Seeding, various locations with the hydro seeder. Again, that's wrapping up. A lot of that now is dormant seeding that we're throwing out. mainly just to get something out there on some of the ditches and things that we've disturbed. Miscellaneous and construction, I do have an update. 235th Street Bridge, that's the one here just west of town, the one I've talked about quite a bit. We do have a tentative plan from Iowa Bridge and Culvert to close that starting December 1st. We will have a pre-construction meeting with them ahead of time, but they're indicating December 1st. That can change, but that's the date that we're kind of moving forward with. So we'll work on getting a public notice out. We'll probably drag our feet just a little bit here, but today would be the first time I bring that information out. And again, that road will be closed, or that bridge will be closed until it's complete, which we would anticipate next fall when that would get done. So it all depends on how the scheduling goes and how their winter work goes. But the winter process will be demolition of the existing bridge and working on foundation work to get the structures up during the winter months when they are more in an isolated area. So that's kind of big news for us as far as knowing that date. There will be a detour in effect. We'll have detour signed. I'll be bringing a recommendation to maybe change some speed limits on Old 34, that would be Goodyear Road, to you guys here in the coming weeks to correlate with the construction. We will have some signs on Highway 34 to try to direct truck traffic around Mount Pleasant, or on the bypass, just to confirm that. But we will hopefully do some communication and talk to the sheriff about using their app to help get some information out as well when we push that out. So, and then yesterday, I attended a traffic and safety forum in Ames. We discussed a wide range of topics related to traffic safety and tools to utilize for analyzing traffic-related issues. So a lot of the funding mechanisms that we've used with HSIP and TSIP, some safety improvement funds, there are some new, not new, but other tools that we can use to analyze accident history, just what's the message that we're doing and how we communicate to the public about changes that we're wanting to do. So they had a great speaker. He's actually from Chattanooga, Tennessee, was the mayor, and talking about some of their infrastructure that they've done and how they've made changes to the process and how to engage the public. So it was a very good conference to go to. So that's it.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, on October 28th, Dave from ArcaSearch was down here to do the final review of the documents that they scanned this past spring. Everything looked good, so we had this link. Joe was able to get it on the website, so it is on the recorder's page. He is going to work on getting it on the auditor's page this week, or today, hopefully. If you happen to go to the website, there's a link that you click on, and you're able to look at from the auditor's vault, transfer books, atlas and road books, the supervisor's minutes from 1861 to 2023, surveyor books from 1851 to 1850 something, I forgot to put that down, and the road cases. For the recorder side, we have the deed records for town lot and land for the grantor grantee. That is records from 1837 to 1950. We also have the plat books. He is also going to do an estimate to see what it's going to cost to do the survey books from the office. We have been working on the blue books. Right now we have the year 2000 documents on Iowa land records. We're hoping to, hopefully by next year, have the blue books from 1984 to 1999 on the Iowa land records site. And I've also have sent out, as of today, 296 reminders for off-road vehicles.
Thank you.
Are there any books that maybe should be scanned?
The survey books.
The survey books are kind of
That's the.
they're the book. I mean, there's no replicas of them. There's no anything. They are that document.
Yeah, Advantage Archives did scan them, but they were really crappy. So he said the best thing to do, and it'd be a little bit cheaper, is if they take the books off-site to Minnesota to do them, because we're talking big maps. And they have the machine there to do it instead of bringing that machine down here. And he said that could be costly. So I'm hoping to get that estimate within the next month or so, and we can go from there.
Joe?
That link should be on the auditor's page by now. Check my email, but it should be on there sure by now. Met with 911 board last night for a recommendation on renaming a short section of Benton Avenue between Henry Washington Street and the county line, it's about 150 feet, to match up with the road in Washington County. There's one resident on there, they're having trouble being located. The board did recommend change that. It will be on your agenda for next week. There'll be a resolution if you choose to rename that, and then we'll pass it on to Jake. Next Thursday, I've got a Board of Adjustment meeting, 2 items on that. One is a cell tower that'll be on the southwest corner of 160th Street and Highway 218. That's a 290-foot tower. And on Old Highway 34 west of Franklin Avenue, we've got a request for a substation. This comes from Ameren, and it's Ameren's gonna own most of it, and Mount Pleasant Utilities will own part of it. This is apparently to meet increased electrical needs. They'll tie into the High Line that runs across that property. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Robin?
We just got done with the city school election. Results are online. Again, those results are unofficial results as of today until November 12th. Yeah, November 12th, which would be on a Wednesday. When the canvas is signed by the Board of Supervisors, that's when it's an official results. I have a new hire in my office. I am training her as we speak. For claims and month end and elections at the same time. We're shorthanded for the next 2 days. We have an employee in our office that had lost a family member, so she's out, and she's my election coordinator for our elections. Also, budget worksheets will be going out to all you department heads this month, and I'll send an email out to let you know. October 6th, which is this evening, is the compensation board will be meeting upstairs at 6 o'clock. That's it.
Chad, you got anything?
Conservation, last week, I stayed in the cabin down there. Grandkids and I walked the trail, to the downstream there. Sure is nice to have that open, clear area along there. Nice job. I give one of your staff members a pat on the back with me. Not literally, but, you know, I said, hey, it looks nice, you know, that type of thing. So yeah, that's kind of cool to see that open, just nice timber growth around there, you know, essentially free of the invasives, that type of thing. So that's a lot of work. I know that's involved there. So public health, Katie, so you don't want notified if the alarm goes off in your building?
No, they can send me a text after the fact, but I'm not gonna answer all the alarms that go off.
Okay. How many
I don't
alarms,
have access to
how many alarms
Hillcrest.
go off?
I don't know. Derek had access to that prior.
Okay.
I also have no access to Hillcrest. So if an alarm went off there, I wouldn't be familiar with the building to be able to tell you what area that served.
Okay.
And then there's been, I'm not sure who's taking over the entry codes either. They said that would be a different person, but I haven't heard anything on, as far as like our keypad and our entryway is different from the security alarm system, and I don't know who's in control of that right now.
It would, I guess is my understanding, most building heads want to be notified if there's an alarm in that building. So that's what I want to make sure that you don't want part of that.
I don't want to be called every time the alarm goes off, no. You can let me know during business hours. I'm not gonna take care of alarms that go off in the night.
But I think all the other department heads still want that, right? Jake, I mean, if something goes off.
I think there's different roles, for.
I'm not saying she would have to respond to a burglar alarm, I'm not saying that at all, but notification of that,
Yeah, so I think from the roads department, I think it makes most sense for, they met with us, we have a hierarchy of how we're handling that. We did change some things. We learned a lot about the process that we didn't realize before. So it did make it easier for us to know who's entering. So now I can tell which employee is actually coming onto the property or disarming it. If it goes off, we have some more control on it. But I think it's going smooth, but I think we're a little different than what your
Our
office
staffing
is.
levels are different and our rules are much different.
I think for us, we aren't dealing with a lot of public coming onto our property. It's more about our security, so I think now we know what's going on. So for us, it makes sense.
And I'll add my 2 cents too. I think we're probably pretty similar to secondary roads. I know in the past, Dalton or I were not getting notified. You know, either Derek or Jerry, when he was still here, they were getting notified, and I guess I'd express my concerns of if somebody's trying to break into one of the facilities I oversee, I should probably know about it. So yeah, that's, I guess, kind of been an issue. I will second Katie's response to not knowing when absolute security was coming. I was actually here doing business for the department, and I got notified that absolute security was on premise. So I don't know who coordinated that, but there could have been a little bit better communication when it comes to that, because we've had some issues with our alarms. So if I would have knew that they were coming, I could have made time to meet with them. So I just think, yeah, definitely if somebody's trying to, you know, access one of my facilities, I would like to know about it. And I know Mr. Dietrich has called me a couple times here over the last month and asked if I was aware that somebody was trying to get into the nature center. One of my hosts set off the alarm on an accident, and I had no idea. So I know the sheriff's department has been called a couple times to Oakland, as well as Jerry, you know, after hours, and I didn't know about it till after the fact. So, I mean,
Is that absolute security, the people, I give them a department head contact list, you know,
Yep.
who's the department head, I give them the contact information for that, and it was my understanding they were gonna be reaching out.
yeah,
to set
and
something
since
up.
then, within the last
They were gonna be
week,
reaching out
yeah.
to, make a mutual agreement,
Mhm.
you know, a date where they could talk and discuss everything over.
Yeah,
was
and so
our
since then,
understanding.
since your meeting with Absolute here a week or two ago, I've met with Mike and I can't remember the other gentleman's name, but since then, yeah, we got it straightened out. They've been very helpful. Like Jake said, kind of gave us a little more insight on how the system operates, what we need to do. I know the one day I come into work before you guys met with them, it was actually the day they came out. We tried, you know, accessing our building. Well, the alarm was going off. We put in our PIN and it wouldn't disarm it. So then next thing you know, the sheriff's department's calling us and it's like, what's going on out there? So just, yeah, I guess better communication. I understand, you know, we're without an IT person at this point in time, but, yeah, we didn't know the code was being changed, so, you know, that just added to a little bit of frustration for my staff, and that's just me speaking on behalf of my department. But I feel at this point now, yeah, after, you know, the meeting that we had, we do have, you know, a little bit more understanding of how that system operates, so.
Cause I think as it stands now, if somebody goes into the EM building, the system can flag it, gives Walt a heads up on the alarm, he can cancel it via the
So
the
Tuesday
remote.
night, for an example, with elections being out there, it was supposed to be disarmed throughout the election. It didn't get taken care of. So at 6 o'clock, my phone went off that the door had been opened. And it told me which door it was, and everything, and I was able to disarm the alarm from my house because I knew the elections were out there. And they did call me to set up an appointment to come out and do all my stuff, so they did communicate with me before they came, and whatnot, so.
I think too, one thing I can add is, and I know sheriff deputies have responded, you know, after hours. If I was notified, which hopefully that will change here fairly soon, I can save everybody involved a trip. If I knew, you know, hey, the nature center, the south door, somebody's trying to get into it, I can pull up the security cameras from my phone while I'm, you know, in a deer stand or on vacation and be like, false alarm, you don't need to send a deputy, you know. So I think we're headed in the right direction, but those are, I guess, some of the frustrations that we've had. You know, and nobody wants to get called in after hours, trust me. It's never convenient, but just, my thoughts, I guess, on that, so.
Well, I think it's a work in progress that I think we're getting to the goal we would like to be. There might be a hiccup or a bump somewhere in the way.
I had a couple comments about that, if that's okay. Dispatch asked me to bring this up. I believe Absolute Security and WH International is the same, right? Is that correct?
WH is new to me, I don't.
Dispatch told me that WH International has contacted him specifically when your guy, his code didn't work and we were dispatched out there. They just want to know when they're contacted by the security company, whether it be WH International or Absolute Security, an updated call list for each county building, whether it be yours, or whoever, an updated call list, because they had Steve Dietrich down as the only contact information for conservation. And Laura, our dispatch supervisor, said, I know I should be calling Caleb or Dalton. And it said Steve Dietrich on our call list because that's what we were told we were supposed to do. So whenever this is all resolved and everything's ironed out for all county buildings, if someone could let our dispatch center know, who do we contact first? Because quite frankly, I agree with Caleb. It should be Caleb. He's in charge of that department. So, and obviously you don't want to be called. So we need to know, who do we call when their building alarm goes off? Because those security companies call our dispatch center and say, we need to send cops there because the alarm's going off. And we just need to know who.
And a concern with something like that in the public, I have no idea what medications you might keep. If somebody breaks in, it might be beneficial to figure out, okay, this medication's gone, or, this stethoscope's gone, or whatever might have been tampered with there. It might be not the next business day type thing. I think that would be in my mind, and convince me differently if I'm not looking at that would be a good reason for you to be notified of a burglary or something at your business.
Especially if it's forced open.
Yeah.
I think we'd have to have somebody from your office if it's entered. If it's just an alarm going off, we find nothing, I can understand that.
Right,
Yeah,
I don't wanna have to answer the alarm.
Yeah, I clearly hear you. But I think if we find a break-in, or the police department finds a break-in at your department, I think they're gonna have to contact somebody that knows what's missing. But for the alarms, I completely get it, Our dispatch center just wants an updated list on when we get a call from a security company, who do we contact first?
So I guess one more thing on that is that they supposedly, we gave all systems our call list, who they're gonna call first before they call the sheriff's office to make sure. So I gave them, there's 3 names, and if we don't answer, then they're
Then
gonna
they
call you.
us. Yeah,
And then
that's
I guess
absolutely
the
right.
idea is that you would then go
And
there.
hopefully our list is the most current, because we're supposed to be county government together, and we should know.
Yeah, I was just pointing out that they supposedly are gonna be calling before they contact you, they're gonna call
Your
whoever
list,
they have
yeah.
for their list.
Yeah.
And I think it's fine to pass that on so you
Yep.
understand what's
And I
going
know
on.
we're in transition, that's probably why Steve's the main contact for conservation, that's an IT transition problem. But I think the sooner we can get a list, the better.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I told Laura, obviously, you should call Caleb first, it's his department.
So if department heads could put together that contact list, whoever you want, and drop it to the supervisor, that way we'll have a copy, and hopefully we can be that linkage
That's
in
one
between
thing
there.
I communicated with Mike with Absolute, he's like, if you could send me a list, obviously I'm the primary contact, then Dalton, and it'll probably just be us two. But which I sent that over, but that'd be easy just to send it to you guys, so you guys are aware, and also
Dispatch.
yeah, which you guys are already got our contact info anyway.
Since that incident?
Yeah. Well,
Or
prior
because
to
of that incident?
Well,
Prior
prior
to that, our list consisted of Steve Dietrich.
Okay, well, that was changed without my authorization, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it got done, that's just what Laura relayed to me.
I take it I'm not gonna be called on anything.
Unless
If
it's
there's
the
something
treasurer's office.
specific in your office, I think you would be.
But I'm not required, like Katie said, we're not required to come in and dismantle or disarm that alarm.
Unless there'd be a need to do that, I don't see that.
Okay.
So,
So somebody else is the main courthouse
yeah.
contact.
Yes. But if we get here and the treasurer's office is demolished, we'll probably be calling you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
No, I think that was all the notes I took. So.
All right. Compensation Board is meeting tonight at 6 o'clock for those who have that interest. And just on a little side note for my own self, just wanted to say that 64 years ago tomorrow, I was on a field trip. And I came into the Board of Supervisors meeting. That's back when schools used to do more field trips. And I was in 6th grade and I got my interest spurred in county government at that time. So I remember that day very clearly. It was not in this room, it was across the hall. So on that, with that, thank you all for a good meeting. Thank you. So Jake, you're not gonna.
I actually have done everything I needed to tell you.
Check that we got.
Unless you have
the right
questions.
records. Thanks.
No, I don't.
Yeah, cause I mean, ever since I started, I've been trying to keep updated on, you know,
Was there anything?
Dalton and I's on-call schedule.
We're not ready. We got another. Next on our agenda is to open snow bid. We have, Robin, you've received two.
So.
I just know whether it's.
Did this include?
No, we'll.
No, the thing was is that you were here when they did that, and then I got an email. And before that email came out, just went and Rich put one together and Mark put one together, and then we went ahead and mailed, I published it immediately like I was asked to. And so when I did that, and I got confused, it's like, well, maybe we didn't.
Yeah, I guess, I thought we were gonna combine them all into one grouping, that,
But that was after the fact, that wasn't when you,
right, yeah. And
yeah.
we had talked about it
Mhm.
a second time or something, and that's why I put together the shaded areas were the affected area where the snow removal and ice.
Well, the sheriff even asked me, if, he says, am I confused or didn't we already do that? And I said, yeah, we did. So, for the publication of the snow removal.
Right.
So the bids that we received here,
We have 6 different locations on the first bid. How many do you have? So I think we do have what we need.
Here's the publication. I also got a copy of the
there's
publication with us.
6 locations.
with the
That
publication was
bid
published.
request just did not have the highlighted,
Right, exactly.
I think is the only difference is,
Map.
yeah.
Okay. The first one is from M&B Lawn Care. We have a bid for six separate bids for each one of the locations and stating what time it'd be cleared by and what the services would be given. We will look that over. There you go. The other one we have is from JBC. They gave us a quote for all of them together. So we will need to be looking at this and see if they, and it does show all 6 locations. And I think we will need to look these over and say what, if it fulfills what we're asking for. We had a little time to study it. So we will hopefully the snow doesn't get that heavy this weekend they're talking about here. So we'll take that under advisement and look at it and have announcement for next week. And JBC also gives us their certification of liability of insurance. So, all right. Get these two then. Keep those together. Next thing on our agenda, we have our subcommittees. Do you have any? Chad?
Last night, I attended the E911 meeting. We talked about the road rename. That was kind of a no big deal issue there. Except for the people that live there, it's a big issue to be able to get emergency services responding to that location. We talked about some radio equipment, things like that, how the different entities use their allocation. It was determined that everybody's been pretty frugal about their use of their allocated funds for radios, things of that nature, so it was just left as it is right now with no changes. And guys, you were there, correct me if I'm wrong, that was kind of the nuts and the bolts of that meeting, so. Then the emergency management meeting followed. I brought up the idea of having Walt and the emergency management kind of take over and work with the other entities about courthouse security, courthouse training, that type of thing. And essentially the commission agreed to that, and a vote was made that could proceed, since that's a commission process.
I had DCAT last Friday. We went over our budget, and everything is good within our budget, even for next year. The discussion of HHS was brought up, Katie, and I will be getting with Sarah to see if she can. I think she would like to come and talk to us about the role that they have to do with us in DCAT with the mental health. So yes, and it's very adamant that there's a lot of learning curve and a lot of growing pains yet. So with that.
So, we need to look at that for when they're talking about public health going through a realignment too. There's gonna be a transition period.
I will let you know if you get that, and you may be invited.
And
to
if
the
you
next
need me
meeting,
there,
too.
I'll be happy to join,
Okay,
so.
thank you. And also, I asked one of the people, our CPPC, to do an overview for the future for what services are rendered here in Henry County, and that we might coordinate a little bit better on that. So that's all I have. Public comments. Bob?
Yeah, I don't know how many historians we have in here, or financial statisticians we have in here, but my bride brought it to my attention that the audit reports up here for people to look at, one of them's from 2014, and the other's from 2013. And in the audit report tells how much was spent for roads, how much was spent for public safety, how much was spent for legal services back then. And I think, didn't you say, Kelly, that through this month, how many million have you retained from license plates? Through this month.
For this month only is when I have $600,000.
600,000, okay.
This
And
month of October.
yeah, and so if we multiply that out, we could probably figure out how much we've already brought in this year. And back in 14, we had a total budget of only 7 million. So it's good information that you could project if you had the new data to put with it. I just thought it was interesting we had stuff this old laying around here in the office, but nothing newer dates. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, if I get going a little bit longer, just remember last week that I only got 30 seconds. So anyhow, no, I did because Supervisor White got in ahead of me, you know. All right, so I need to correct the record from last week. I misspoke, asked a misleading question. I did not go to the auditor's office to get the facts before, as she suggested I should do on October the 16th. While she was publicly scolding myself and 2 others for making her department look bad. It was an unintentional error, okay? I take responsibility. Okay, I asked if anybody knew what happened to the recorded video from the phone hidden in the women's bathroom. And that was a misspeak. I meant to ask if anyone knew what happened to the video recorded from the camera hidden in the women's bathroom. So that was a mistake. Okay, so I put that question in with other questions, and I'm going to give it to her here, and she can write a response. She'll have a little time if she needs to contact the IT guy, the former IT guy, or the former auditor, and there's those questions. And there's the $2 that's still laying there from the last time, you know, for the postage and the envelope. All right, and so you got a little time. Okay, with that out of the way, we need to thank Sheriff McNamee for putting together that trick-or-treat night with the kids and building a relationship with the kids. So if you guys will help me. That's enough, I'm on the clock. So anyhow, I didn't go to Trenton for trick-or-treat night, but Vicki wanted to go. I was running late. Anyhow, so she comes home and she says, she runs into Sheriff McNamee and he asked where I was at. Now, why would he care where I'm at? And then she said, he gave her these things. Bully-free zone stickers. Now, why would he give those to me? But anyhow, there's a lot of ways to be a bully. For example, you could be a bully if you were elected to office, accepting the salary at that time, but schemed a plan to use your position to haul in tens of thousands of dollars for yourself. You could be a bully if you were elected to be the chief law enforcement officer, but dismissed criminal charges and then prosecuted a deputy for charging the criminals. You could be a bully if you were elected to provide driver's license services, but refused a citizen that service because he didn't have an appointment and nothing else was going on in your office or staff wasn't doing anything, just because you thought your time more valuable than a citizen's time. You could be a bully if you left your office, went across the hall to conspire with your friend on how to harass a citizen, and then tried to hide your face when you got caught. You could be a bully if you hired an IT specialist for full time, but covered up for him when he only worked a few hours a week. You could be a bully if you collected overtime pay when you didn't even put in normal work hours. You could scam the taxpayers out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. You could be a bully if you ordered a camera hidden in the women's bathroom to spy on others. You could be a bully if you sent an anonymous, hateful, vicious, vile letter to a citizen, blaming them and others for exposing the corruption in your own office, and you thought he was too stupid to figure out who said it. You could be a bully if you coached an employee to file legal action against 2 supervisors that put a stop to the scandal. You could be a bully if you granted blanket pay raises to all county employees and gave taxpayers the largest tax increase in the state when these scandals are still playing out. You're definitely a bully if your self-serving interest makes all of Henry County Courthouse staff look bad, while we still have employees that are honest and take pride in putting people and public service first. So here's these stickers. I'll hand them out. You can take one if it works and pass them on.
You might want to take one yourself.
What?
You might want to take one yourself.
If you're a bully-free zone.
Neither does anybody else.
Yeah, anybody.
No, nobody needs that.
Oh, this is not a bully-free zone?
We're not a bully.
Okay. All right, well, anyhow,
Go
for
ahead.
those of you watching this video, if you've had a bad experience with any public employee, tell others, your family, friends, and neighbors. Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana said, "We won't have clear water till we get all the pigs out of the creek." So let's work together. If you know somebody that make a good public official, encourage them to run for office. Let's get them elected. Let's get all the pigs out of the creek and let's make Henry County a bully-free zone. And anybody that wants a sticker, and I'm done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Well, I didn't plan this, and I wanted to plan it and I wanted to have it all written down. But it's kind of ironic that I'm coming after you. I don't disagree with a lot of the things that have been brought up, but given that we're going into Thanksgiving, I wanted to say something positive about Henry County. I moved here 5 years ago, and I was amazed at how easy it was to get a new driver's license, to get my license plates changed, how easy it was to build a house, to deal with the zoning committee, about the services that Henry County offers. I really enjoyed the education programs that the conservation group put on. So while I agree that there are things that need to be fixed, this time of year, I just wanted to say there are good things about it. Oh, I forgot to mention the roads. Everyone here complains about the roads. The roads are fantastic. Just go to where I used to live if you want to see really bad roads. So there's a lot of services that are really doing well. And I don't mind paying taxes, because taxes are the price you pay to live in a civilization. So I didn't mean this as a counter to you, but I just think sometimes we need to focus on the positive. And there's a lot of good things happening in this county. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
And I will second it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are now adjourned. Thank you all.
Thanks for watching. I truly believe we mined some podcast gold today. Thanks to the sponsors: Griner Auto Body, Car Doctor, McDonald Boneyard, Your Choice Family Restaurant, Girling Repair, B&B Propane, and the family of Jet Stops, CW Tree Trimming LLC, Iowa Technology Systems, Junkin Sisters Holiday Shop Hop, December 5th and 6th, Dutch Market, and Coffee Talk. I'm your host, John Bain, and thanks to my niece Addie for coming along today, being an intern for the podcast, and hopefully next time we'll get her on camera. And I guess I got one more thing to say. Stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.